Good morning, everyone. I'm Jaslyn, your moderator today. So thank you for taking your time to join us today. Today's session is titled From Service to Intelligence Inside ITIL version 5. So now I believe everyone, I'm Jaslyn, your moderator. Sorry for technical issue. Okay. So I believe most of you here are already familiar with ITIL. So we won't be going into very fundamental today. Instead, we will want to focus on today is like what has actually changed in the ITIL version 5 compared to version 4, and then why ITIL 4 is no longer enough in today's environment. And the most importantly, what is the mean that for you in your day-to-day role in IT services. So we are currently operating in a very different landscape compared to last time when ITIL 4 was introduced. So many organizations today are dealing with increasing complexity, I believe, rapid adoption of AI and automation, and also a growing gap between product team and also service team. So this is where ITIL 5 has this upgrade come into not as a complete replacement, but as an evolution to address the intelligent era to cap the rapid change. So in today's session, we will walk through you the shift from IT service management, the changes to digital product and service management. So, and the second one, the introduction of AI native concept that already adopt in ITIL 5, the move from SLA driven thinking to experience driven outcome. And how ITIL is now aligning more closely with DevOps, Agile, and modern digital operating model. So we will also cover the qualification and the transition path. Like if you are holding the ITIL cert, then what is the next for that? So especially this is very relevant if you are planning to get the advanced course or something like that. So I think without further delay, let me just hand over to our expert speaker today, Sean. Sean, who will be taking you through the session. Sean, are you ready there?
Yes, I am. Thanks, Jocelyn.
All
Okay,
right,
I'm just
so
going to share
over
my
to you.
screen. Thank you. So I'm just going to share my screen now. Okay, I hope that everyone can see my screen. Okay, so good morning. Hope you're having a good day. I think a lot of you most probably might just start coming back to work after a long break. And what better to start the no coming back to work, but by learning what ITU 5 can do for you. Okay, so for the next hour and a half or so, we're going to talk about the transition from ITIL 4 to ITIL version 5, and what has changed, what has been improved, and how you can proceed to even start considering planning your journey in ITIL version 5. For those in ITIL version 4, how do you do that conversion as well? Yeah, do feel free to ask the questions on top of your. If you look at your Microsoft Teams, there is the Q&A button. If you do want to have any questions, please click the Q&A button and then post your question there, and we will then answer it as we go along. Yeah? Okay. So let's talk about what we're going to look at today. So we're going to talk about the evolution, right? Basically, what has changed from ITIL 4 to ITIL version 5 and why the change has happened. We're going to talk about later on about the ITIL version 5 qualification scheme, right? And then the qualification transition path, and answer some of your questions. Okay. So both me and my colleague Kevin, we are very familiar with ITIL version 5. In fact, we have been very familiar with ITIL since its inception many years ago. Yeah, we have been keeping up to date with what's happening in ITIL, right, as a whole, and we have been actually running a lot of courses and also helping organizations to implement ITIL for the success of organizations. Unfortunately, Kevin could not be with us today, so I shall be leading the session today. But do feel free to reach out to either one of us by scanning the QR code, and that will take you all to our LinkedIn profile where you can connect with us. Yeah. Oh, by the way, my name is Sean. Right. I'm sorry that I didn't introduce myself early on because I'm always very excited talking about ITIL. Yeah. Okay. So if you notice, you are attending in an InfoTrack event. Yeah, and InfoTrack is a training provider, and also InfoTrack is a very close partner to us. So where I work is called MindMagine, right? It's an organization, a consultancy organization that provides ITIL training, not only ITIL training, but training that links to project management, to DevOps, to change management, right? To help organizations succeed. But obviously, we can't do this all on our own. That's why InfoTrack has been our partner since 2008, and we work very closely together to ensure you attending this or attending IT trainings get the best uh, service or best training and consultancy service out of this. But just to tell you a bit about MindMagine. So MindMagine is basically the name blends two words, basically mind and imagine. Mind talks about deep cognition with the industry inside. That means understanding, have a logical view of what's happening in an industry, and of course, seeing through the lens of empathy and creativity. Basically, to sum it, the word MindMagine, why we chose MindMagine as a name for our organization is having deep understanding of what's happening in the world, in the industry, how frameworks like ITIL can help the industry, but not looking it purely at a logical process view, but looking it through the eyes of a human connection as well. Because at the end of the day, no matter what service you deliver, there is going to be a human connection that is needed so that whatever we do will be successful. MindMagine didn't start. Uh, if you do look at the do a search on us, you might see that we have started maybe in the 2018s, 2019s. That's the name change. In fact, we have been around with in Malaysia as Quint Malaysia, only evolving to MindMagine later on, and we've been working with InfoTrack since 2008. That's a very long-term, long-standing partnership, and we are very happy to have that relationship, to be able to bring you the best, right, in terms of what we do, the best service that we can provide. Yeah. So on MindMagine alone, we have seen that just going for training and understanding frameworks don't always work out, right? We can get all the certifications in the world, like ITIL version 5, the latest certification, but if we cannot implement it or we cannot apply it to what we do, then everything is wasted. So in MindMagine, we actually created a new model, and this is a registered model, right, known as the GITO model. GITO stands for govern, innovate, transform, optimize. Basically, using frameworks like ITIL version 5 that focuses on service management, and then including all other frameworks and all other best practices to help organizations do or be successful in what they do. If you look at this diagram, you notice that the GITO is the model, is the foundation of our thinking in MindMagine, right? So this foundation allows us to help organizations to create the right behavior, build collaboration, build the right leadership, and build the right motivation, and then applying these frameworks to enhance and to be successful. Yeah, and if you look at around the frameworks and the things that we apply, we talk about things like ideation, organization change, project management, and then within it you will see the best practice frameworks we apply. So after the today, right? I'm sure you'll be interested in signing up for the course for ITIL version 5. And But if you want to take it a bit further to ask, hey, how do I do this better? How do I improve this? How do I apply this on my organization? Feel free to reach out to both InfoTrack or us directly, MindMagine, and let us help you with the journey by applying our model, right? Which again, a model is just a guidance. Applying the model, working together with your organization to see how success looks like. One good news that we have done in the recent year, right, is the creation of a um, I will use the word AI, right? But it's more not just purely as a trend, but we have actually adopt an AI tool to help us deliver some sort of conversation with you. Right, we've named the tool Eileen. There is a reason why we call it Eileen, right? But if you use the Eileen tool or you've used Eileen, you would actually be able to actually ask questions pertaining to service management, right? Pertaining to what needs to be done. And Eileen will help you understand what are the things that you need to look out for. So this is built by MindMagine. So you can ask any questions, any framework questions to Eileen, and Eileen will tell you, hey, what to look out for was, for example, what training to attend, what workshops, how would you progress even your growth and your skills. So do go try out Eileen. You can do that by scanning the QR code or go to gito.mindmagine.com. And Eileen will also provide you guidance in terms of the areas that you might need help so that we can then approach you to provide you that help. Yeah. So you look at it in terms of the capabilities of Eileen right now is recommending training and certification, helping you to understand team and organizational challenges, recommending you workshops and facilitations that you can carry out, and of course, helping you understand how to improve processes and performance. Of course, the next version of Eileen, which we are looking at to launch this year, is to also create a capability and maturity assessment where you can actually answer questions from your organization to see the level of maturity and capability you are at and how to move on to the next level. Yep. So feel free to play around with Eileen. If you have any questions, do reach out through InfoTrack and to us and let us help you with that. Okay. Okay, so that's a bit about MindMagine, and I hope you do actually play around with Eileen. I personally, even though I work for MindMagine, I personally find Eileen to be a great tool to help even plan, hey, what are my next steps and what are my thoughts? So do try it out and do let us know what you think. Okay, now let's come to the topic at hand. Let's talk about ITIL version 5. I'm sure you're all been sitting down waiting with bated breath. So what has changed, right? Most of you have a question of, hey, so now what? I've got ITIL version 4. So do I move on to ITIL version 5? So what do I do, right? So the good thing about ITIL is, right, it doesn't matter which version of ITIL you use, there's still value to it. But how ITIL looks at it by creating the new versions is to align with the changes that's happening around the world. You and I know that the only constant that happens in the world are changes. Changes do happen constantly. In fact, just a couple of weeks back, right, one of the major changes, which I think it wasn't a very good one, uh, was the so-called war on Iran, right? And that changed the entire landscape on the shipping industry. And some of you are feeling it as well. Petrol prices are going up. They just announced that the food prices are going to go up as well, which we never like, yeah. But these changes do happen, and ITIL or PeopleCert, the owners of ITIL, are actually evolving ITIL to also align to these changes so that whatever we do remains relevant, remains valuable. Okay, so let's talk about evolution. So ITIL version 1 or ITIL itself started in the 1980s. And this was started by the UK government, right? And if you were growing up during the period of time, this was under the leadership of Margaret Thatcher, right? So the UK government wanted to actually create a process-based IT service management within the UK government, and they started looking at all the best practices that was available, right? And they then start compiling it. Over time, people saw what the UK government was doing and they were very excited. They said, wow, the UK government seems to know how to manage this service correctly. And they have applied best practices from a lot of companies, right? And they request to use it. So what happened was ITIL then became version 2, where it starts compiling and starts optimizing the framework for service management. So that started in the 2000s. And then the world started to change. IT started to be more adopted. IT services started to be more relevant. Then ITIL also evolved to version 3, where we introduced the lifecycle approach, uh, a stable approach on how to manage your IT services by introducing 5 lifecycle stages. But the problem for ITIL version 3 was very rigid. It kind of follows the model of your SDLC model, your waterfall model, right? Where you need to strategize, design, and then transition, and then operate, and then improve over time. It worked for IT services then, but over time, IT services became more flexible, more outcome driven. So ITIL again evolved to version 4, which most of you might have taken, where rather than looking at a life cycle approach, they started introducing what we call a service value system, where services should be managed to deliver value, right? And don't have to be too rigid. There must be certain flexibilities that has to be implemented. And now again, the world has changed. Now we are actually adopting a lot of AI, right? AI products, and again, a lot of new concepts of how to manage IT services. We are looking at introducing ITIL version 5. So ITIL version 5 unites both the ideas of service management and product management together, right? It's no longer separated. That means service management is not only carried out when the product is produced and being delivered, but service management is carried out through the product development as well. So it's going to be hand in hand. So in ITIL version 5, we're going to look at even using AI or introducing AI as a supporting feature in service management, making everything more practical to be able to deliver what we call digital services. So that's an evolution, right? It is not pressing a reset button and say, what worked last time didn't work today, we will change the whole model. It didn't. Basically, from every single version of ITIL, they continue to improve, continue to evolve to actually keep track or keep aligned with the changes in the organization. Okay, so some of you might have seen this before, some of you might not. Again, don't be too worried about it. Basically, the evolution is looking at how from V3 it went to 4, it went to version 5. So in V3, if you look at this diagram, it talks about life cycle stages, starting with, for example, service strategy, moving down to service design, transition, operation, and then improving everything along the way, right? So this provides very good stable structure, but it is very rigid because if you notice, the arrows just goes down like a waterfall, right? And every time you want to improve a service, it gets very difficult to actually go back up to the next level or the next life cycle stage. So in ITIL 4, that changed. Instead of having this kind of life cycle, it is more flexible. That means all these activities that needs to be done, strategy, design, transition, operation, is then broken down to actually carry out its own activities, but you see there are no arrows. So this becomes more flexible because uh, when you're currently building a service and you find that the design is not correct, you can go back to design easily, right? The purpose of the ITIL service for life service value chain is to enable us to decide how best to link all these stages or activities together to be able to produce products and services that will deliver value. And this is going to be driven by demand and opportunities. So version 3 lifecycle works, version 4 service value chain works. Rather than resetting and removing everything, ITIL version 5, what they have done is they have combined both of this into this diamond shape, right? So now they have the life cycle activities, all right, like design, acquire, build, transition, right? And also they have the if you're developing a new service, for example, or new product, you can follow it in a life cycle format. You see the arrows go around and around, or you can be very flexible. For example, if your purpose is just on acquiring, you can then apply just the acquiring activities alone, right? So it has both life cycle and flexibility in place so that you can decide what's the best way to actually deliver the value. Yeah, yeah. We will talk about the diamond as we go along, right? We are going to start abandoning this version 3 and 4 because now we have something better to actually what can I have the combination power of both. Okay, so why is ITIL 4 no longer enough? So the problem, why this is no longer enough, because the adoption of newer technologies and newer concepts like AI, right? If you don't know what AI is, a lot of people don't know what AI is. A lot of people do get confused. That's why you call it AI chaos, right? And in the current trend of AI is a lot of companies want to do AI, but they are just deploying AI applications and tools without the right governance or a cohesive strategy. So ITIL 4 unfortunately doesn't look at a lot on AI deployments or AI adoption, because when ITIL 4 was created, AI was still at its infancy. So now ITIL 4 is no longer enough because we have this entire AI section that's coming in. Number two, ITIL version 5 isn't just an update, it's a recalibration of the intelligence era, right? We have moved from just service provisioning, right, into much more of a service intelligence. That means the service we deliver is no longer just delivered based on what the customer wants, but it evolves over time through new data and new concepts. So the advantage of ITIL version 5 is to actually take the ideas of 4, right, and enhance it, recalibrate it so that we can continue to keep the lights on in how we deliver service, in managing not just our current normal products or normal services, but to also introduce digital product and services within it. For some people might ask this question, right? So does it mean that I must abandon ITIL version 4 and go straight to ITIL version 5? That is not the case. Huh? If your organization still finds value in using ITIL version 4, go ahead. Right? I know of some companies that are not very technologically advanced that still uses ITIL v3. It works for them, fine. Right? You don't have to throw away everything you have. You can continue. But if you're going into an era where your service is no longer just purely physical service or pure IT service, traditional IT service, you are also looking at adopting AI and service intelligence, then it's time for you to also consider version 5 and start evolving as well. Okay? Yeah. So oops, that's the idea. Okay. Okay. Um Okay, so I'm gonna take a break here. Since we've been talking about ITIL version 4, there is a Q&A question that came in, and the question says that please advise where can I start to learn ITIL, And so I start to learn ITIL 1 to 5. Would I need to upgrade my skill set yearly? Kindly advise. Okay, so for that question is, if you want to start your journey in ITIL, you can reach out to InfoTrack or to MindMagine. We can help you map the journey. You don't have to start to learn from ITIL version 1 or all the way to 5. You can start from 5 onwards, because the foundation of version 1, 2, 3, 4 is also adopted in 5. Like I said, 5 did not change anything. They didn't press the reset button. It's just a recalibration. And the question of, do you need to upgrade your ITIL skill yearly? No need, right? ITIL has a certification requirement in terms of number of years. In ITIL, it's 3 years, and then you need to recertify. And recertification doesn't require you to take the same foundation exam. We'll talk more about that later. But recertification uh, uh, encourages you to take a higher, more difficult level course. Yeah. So you build your skills while you maintain your certificate. And it's not a yearly thing, right? Like I said, there's an expiration date of 3 years, uh, and you can help ask us to come in to help you even plan how we do this, because we have been doing this for many, many years now. I've been doing this for more than 12 years personally. We can help you plan how to actually navigate throughout these things. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Okay. So let's get back to the topic at hand. Okay, so why ITIL version 5? ITIL version 5, like I said, is to align with new and growing trends. And we're not talking about a trend that will happen today and then disappear tomorrow. We're talking about trends that have becoming the norm of day to day, like artificial intelligence, complexity of an environment, right? Convergence of a product and a service together, right? ITIL version 5 was created to address feedback that was captured by the people who use ITIL 4, version 4. Through those who have done the exam, through those who have applied and found out that, hey, there's certain things that ITIL 4 did not approach, which are new. ITIL version 5 comes in to address that, right? ITIL version 5 also helps actually realign the clear professional development tracks after foundation, right? If some of you who have taken ITIL V4 will realize that the development track can be a bit complicated, right? And later on we'll see the diagram of what the complication is. ITIL version 5 has cleared it out. For example, you start with foundation, you go to practitioner, you go to manager and then leader, and then you can go up all the way to the expert level. Yeah, and it's very clearly created so that you can plan your journey as you go along. Yeah, ITIL version 5 is also has also been realigned to actually work very well together with other frameworks within its portfolio, like Prince2 project management. Prince2 is not just purely project management, includes portfolio management, program management, project management office, and so on, and also DevOps. So these two other portfolios like Prince2 and DevOps are helping service management or product and service management to be more effective. So now ITIL is realigned to be able to also adapt much more seamlessly across these other portfolios. And of course, ITIL version 5 has been actually created to make it more actionable, right? For example, right, there's one section that people always find difficult, which is, how do I now adopt ITIL version 5? How do I adopt service management into my organization? So ITIL version 5 has actually developed a new module called the ITIL transformation module. And ITIL transformation module is a module to help you to understand complexity of your organization, and based on complexity, what sort of transformation you can apply to increase the chance of implementation success. If you look at ITIL 4, you ITIL V3, right? They always talk about, hey, we need to do transformation, we need to apply service management, but they never really talk about, hey, how do I actually transform my organization to even adopt this? ITIL version 5, there's an entire module on it. And it's one of the module that we all will have to take, right? For us to be able to actually go up to the higher professional levels. Again, we're going to talk more about that as we go on. Yeah. So feel free to ask any questions by putting it in the Q&A. Yeah. And then along the way, if I have opportunity, I'll answer it. If not, I'll answer it at the end of the session. So, like I said, ITIL version 5 is not a revolution, it's an evolution, right? What's the difference? A revolution is basically let's redo everything, right? Let's change everything and introduce something totally new, which we don't need to, because a lot of things that work for in version 3 and version 4 is still very adoptable today with a little bit of tweak, right? We need to evolve it. For example, the terms of principles in ITIL, right? What stays the same is the brand, ITIL brand stays the same, that doesn't change, right? The tagline that this is a global best practice used by companies along the world, across the world, doesn't change. The ITSM service management thinking in ITIL doesn't change. The four ITIL designations doesn't change. For example, in ITIL 4, we talked about the four dimensions. All these things doesn't change, right? And the ITIL foundations in terms of being it a prerequisite doesn't change. So if you want to take ITIL version 5, you still need to go through a foundation, or later on we talk about a bridging course. What else that doesn't change is the ITIL 34 practices, right? Practices are resources and activities we carry out to ensure that uh, um, we can accomplish outcomes. That doesn't change. And the strategy itself doesn't change. How do you strategize? I think the only thing that changes in the strategy is the timeline of strategy. Because traditionally, when you strategize for a IT service management, you might strategize for a uh, yearly type of implementation. But in this case, your strategy might change to be shorter, maybe even monthly type of implementation because of how the world changes. So, in terms of principle, what has changed? The scope has changed. Rather than just IT service management, the scope has moved into product and service management, digital product and service management. What has changed is, again, the adoption of ITIL. That has changed. For example, because we now consider the complexity of every organization of the world around us. And the introduction of using AI as a supporting concept, that has changed. Like I said, version 4, AI was still as infancy, so adopting AI then didn't make sense. But now AI become more of a common ground type of thing, right? We start looking at how AI can be included. In terms of content, what has not changed and what stays the same is, at the end of the day, ITIL is all about co-creation of value. That means value is never created only by the provider, right? Value is created by the provider working closely with the consumer. Like I said, the four dimensions have not changed. The ITIL service value system, that has not changed, but that has been expanded. And of course, ITIL practices has not changed, but with some minor updates. So what has changed? The inclusion of digital and service lifecycle, enhanced focus on product, and now we're also enhancing focus on experience. Yeah, it's not purely just delivering a IT service or an IT product, right? We are also talking about how people experience it, right? Adopting what has changed is the introduction of some AI content with AI governance and capabilities as a collaborative partner, clear guidance on how to leverage ITIL through the transformation module, and again, more adoption content. If you sign up for People Search membership, they will give you a lot more information on how to adopt it. And of course, they have also strengthened governance guidance to also include AI governance, which is an important aspect of AI adoption in services. Okay. Okay. So in content, what's changed? This is a good table to actually run through. So key concepts like scope of framework. ITIL 4 just looks at IT service management. ITIL version 5 looks at digital product and service covering the full life cycle of both. Key concepts of digital products and services. ITIL 4 just talks about products and services definitions. ITIL version 5 again creates new specific definition for what is a digital product and what are digital services. The key roles in value co-creation has changed as well. In ITIL version 4, we always talk about the service provider, service consumer. ITIL version 5 will introduce a new role called the product vendor. So the product vendor are the people who will deliver the digital products. Yeah, this is not necessarily the service provider, right? But a product vendor could be a third-party organization that provides the digital products that will be used by the service provider to then deliver the service to their service consumer. Key concepts that have changed is that service quality characteristics. In ITIL version 4, we always look at utility. Basically, is it fit for use? Warranty, basically assurance that uh, you can continue to operate it. Yeah. And then experience is based on your experience with the service. This is captured to the by the SLA. Oh, sorry, utility is fit for purpose, whereas warranty is fit for use. Yeah. ITIL version 5 still maintains the utility, fit for purpose, the warranty assurance that is fit for use, and of course, experience. But experience expanded from purely just the SLA to something called XLAs. And of course, the addition of sustainability. Sustainability is very important today. For example, sustainability means two things: how sustainable we are in delivering the service and how sustainable we can be in continually to deliver the service. Yeah. uh, Value systems that has evolved. In ITIL 4, we have the service value system. In ITIL version 5, because it's a combination of digital product and service, we no longer call it the service value system. We call it just a value system. Value chain, which is a set of activities to be carried out to deliver value. In ITIL 4, we had a fixed 3D model. But in ITIL 5, we have what we call flexible stepping stone model. That means you can use it as a fixed model, right? That means this and then next to this, or you can decide what activities you want to do that delivers the most benefit and not use the rest. That's up to you. In ITIL version 4, continuous improvement is very important. ITIL continuous improvement is always very important. In ITIL version 4, continuous improvement is designed for clear context. We know what we're going to do, we follow the steps. But in ITIL version 5, continuous improvement is redesigned so that you can adjust it for varying complexity. Because you and I know that services are not just so straightforward. There is different types of complexity. And based on the complexity, we will then decide how to do the improvements. And of course, governance. In ITIL version 4, governance is focused on evaluate, direct, monitor, evaluate what's happening, provide direction, and monitor to see that the direction is being carried out. ITIL version 5 adds on one extra component: evaluate, direct, monitor stays. But the last one, which is very important, is the constant, continuous engagement with stakeholders. So in this case, your governance is not purely on policies and rules. Those still remain, but every organization will have different requirements and needs, and you need to engage with them constantly. Yeah. For example, my organization might have a very strong, what I call that, adoption of AI governance, but your organization might not be there yet, right? So we can introduce the governance, AI governance, as part of your service management, but then we need to engage with you to see how much that we can apply. so that you don't feel a sense of loss or things like that. Okay. Okay. So nowadays, it is important to look at products differently, right? I'm a Gen Xer, right? So I was born during the 70s. I grew up during the 80s. To us, products weren't very digital then. Yeah, not as how it is today. So how we look at products and what we term as goods that we use is very different. So if you want to maintain relevance, if you want to support uh, the new way of how these goods and products are used and how the ownership is being carried out, we need to even shift our thinking and how we manage them. So this diagram actually tells us and gives us a good example of what the shift is like. No, non-technical product would be your glasses, your old camera, your clothes, and then slowly it started to be supported by digital technology, and then it was enabled by digital technology, and then becomes a digital technology itself. So now we have these two areas where there are still products that are non-digital, there are products that are fully digital, and we need to support both. We cannot just say that we just support the traditional products, the analogs, and not think about the digital. That's why how we look at goods and how we look at products has to change. How we manage to them also has to change. And for some organizations, right, we don't even manage analog products anymore. We manage purely digital products. And does the framework work for us? Right? So ITIL have considered this. How do we manage both and how do we move on? Right? So traditionally, products is basically a configuration of organization resources designed to offer value for a consumer, and a service are the activities you do together with your consumer or provider and the consumer together to deliver outcomes or results that the customer wants, and then the provider will help manage it. Traditionally, that's how we look at services and products. But moving forward, ITIL 5, version 5, introduced what we call digital product and digital services. Basically, digital product has expanded the product where some of the products are delivered through digital technology that offer more value to the consumer, and this digital technology will require digital service, a service that is fully or largely relies on digital products. So that's why this ITIL version 5 has to now look at two things, not just one, but both, to see how value can be delivered accordingly. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I see a lot of questions. And some of these questions are actually very good questions, and I'll answer this along the way. Wow, I see a lot of questions here. Yeah. So I'll answer that along the way. Yeah. Okay. Let's come back to this first. Okay. Here we go. So how this? Okay. So I know we've heard a lot of things about digital products and digital services. So how do I actually and let's just say I'm really confused. I don't know how to put these things in place, right? So here's the examples that I will provide. So there are two examples. Let's talk about registering for new insurance policy. Right nowadays, if you do buy insurance, right? So the digital service process perspective of new insurance policy is where you no longer connect with a insurance agent, right? You can buy insurance through an automated portal, and this is managed by the IT digital service, right? Because we are delivering a digital service in terms of helping you buy insurance. And of course, because this is a digital service, the product and the service itself has to be integrated. The activities have to be integrated, such as acquire, bill, and deliver the insurance certificate or the geo certificate has to be done correctly. So managing it is going to be very different. Yeah. So we also need to think about if your digital service adopts AI technology, we need to even look at the 6C model. Later on, we talk about what's the 6C in AI thinking, like creation, cognition, communication. And when you are delivering a digital service like selling the insurance digitally, it's no longer measurement of, oh, did the service run or not, could I log in or not. It's more of even measuring experience. How do people experience the digital service? Right? It's no longer was it available, but how easy of it is easy of it to use it. Yeah, right. In computer science research, right, and understanding adoption, right, there are many models, and one of the models talks about perceived usefulness. So again, what's the perceived usefulness for the consumer of that digital service? If you compare that to traditional IT service perspective, right, it's more of a manual process of processing the request, processing the insurance, and then sending you a document. You would have a lot of staff, very staff and location dependent. And your metrics is normally just measured based on did you achieve something or not, in terms of achieve it based on time, achieve it based on availability, and so on. So traditional IT service perspective is a lot to do with uh, things you actually have to you have to manage it physically. Digital service, because everything is more automated now, it has a different way of management. Second example would be like sending and receiving emails. In a digital service perspective, sending and receiving emails is all integrated lifecycle. The tools are integrated. For example, your Outlook now even have technology to even separate your email to actually send out the right automatic response and stuff like that. And with AI coming in, using cognition and clarification, they can even summarize and suggest smart replies. Again, it's not so much of is the email up or not when we do measurement. It's more about how comfortable or how well we feel, or what's the experience like in using technology to help us achieve the work. For the traditional IT service perspective, even an email service can be very human-led, because you have to think about who you write to, how you reply. Performance is always about uptime, downtime of email. Can I send attachment or not? So it's going to be very different. For ITIL version 5, right, email will be considered a digital service now, because everything in email is very automated, especially now with Copilot in Microsoft 365. So now the digital product is the Outlook app that you no longer manage, that is managed by the system itself. And of course, the digital service would be the hosting of it. It's no longer managed where people physically look at the servers. So it's going to be very different. That's why ITIL version 5 now becomes um, very, very important. Okay. So the relationship between digital products and services, it's now becoming more connected, more seamless. Last time, right, it's very separated. For example, if I want a service, I will reach out to my vendor, right, my service provider, who will manage the service for me. Now, the service itself is managed automatically as well, right? So digital services are always based on digital products. Products provide capabilities, value, and then to manage this is a whole new different challenge. We have to rethink, how do I manage both, not just one, but both. Okay. So now, instead of just having product and service management separately, now it's known as digital product and service management, or DPSM. Basically, it's a set of specialized organizational capabilities for enabling value for customers in the form of digital products and services. Because now all our services are somewhat connected to digital products, we need to manage it using tried and tested capabilities, and then evolving it to how we manage it today. That's the idea. Okay. Okay, so I want to quickly answer one question, which I think it's an important one, right? The rest are also very important, but I will talk about that later on. So I have in the Q&A somebody asking this question: do people really follow all the ITIL stuff at work? This sounds like a person who works in an organization that actually spouts a lot of ITIL, but maybe sometimes don't 100% follow it. My answer is this: if your organization is serious about delivering valuable services, is serious about achieving um, uh, service excellence, then that organization should follow all the ITIL stuff. And when I say follow ITIL stuff is not copy and paste, I think there's a danger in that. A lot of people say, oh, if I want to become ITIL, we must follow the entire book and stuff like that. No, following ITIL stuff is basically customizing the framework of ITIL into and adopting it and adapting it into your organization. That's what following ITIL stuff should be. Do organizations, for organizations that are successful, they do that. If your organization is just talking about ITIL and then just telling people just adopt ITIL without even considering the value of it, then we do find that a lot of organizations are not truly following. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question, right? Like for us in Mind Imagine, we do really follow the ITIL stuff, right? Uh, uh, it's quite funny, right? If we don't practice what we preach. Yeah, so we do follow the ITIL stuff. But again, in my organization, ITIL is customized or is adopted in a way that supports my organization and what we want to do. Okay? Yeah. Hopefully that answered that question. Yeah. Okay, I know why some people ask this question, because it's like, wow, ITIL 5 has so many things to do. Can we truly 100% follow it? Every single thing. Again, ITIL is not something that you copy and paste, that you must always follow exactly. ITIL at the end of the day is just a framework, a model to help you deliver IT services, digital and IT services much more effectively. Yeah. So why did ITIL version 5 combine digital products and services together? The answer is it has to, right? Imagine you're driving a car, right? And the car is separated from how you drive it. What's going to happen? Your car is not going to deliver the value you're looking for, and you might not do any service for the car because you have separated it. No, for example, right, when you drive a car, right, you have to drive it in the right way, right, to ensure that the car continues to deliver that value to you. You have to take care of it, right? You don't only take care of the driver, you have to take care of the car. And the car must be built in a way that it can be used in the condition of of the road in your country. Yeah, imagine, right, you go and buy a new car, and in Malaysia you buy a left-hand drive car. It doesn't work because we are all right-hand drivers, right? We drive on the right side of the road, right side, right, which is the left side of the road. So the product and the service has to actually work together. They should have a shared life cycle. Yeah. So another example here they talk about is the banking sector, right? Traditionally way of transferring money, right, is through the counter or and doing that, or using a tool and then trigger the transfer, and then the people in the counter service or in the bank will at the back end do the transfer. But now the banking sector, right, has introduced tools to allow you to transfer easily online, right? And that tool to transfer has to be properly managed for the consumer to be able to get the value from it. So you have to actually manage the product and the service together. That's why we have this new diamond model. that applies to both the product and services in terms of discovering, design, acquiring, build, transition, operate, deliver, and then supporting it. And when we do this together. So there are basically 8 value chain activities that is recommended in managing your digital and digital services, digital product and services together, which is to discover, design, acquire, build, transition, operate, deliver, support. Right? Again, it is not, you don't always start with discover if you don't need it. You could start with design. If this is not a new service or new product, you could improving a product or service, you could start with design. You could use this as a life cycle, step by step. You could use this as a stepping stone. You could use it individually to see what value you're trying to do. That's a good thing about ITIL. They don't force you to say, oh, you want to do even just a small improvement, you must start all the way from discover. No. Whatever that this gives you the most value, you decide how you want to do this. Even the value chain itself, you've noticed this, right? It doesn't say, right, that you don't do 2 activities of design. So for example, right, you could design and then acquire. Acquire means bringing the item or bringing the expertise, and then go and design again before you even build. So how you actually manage this in your, and the word is called value chain because the activities you do must deliver value to the next activity or to the end. How you do this is where you will start creating something called value streams. Value streams are a organized set of activities to so that you can carry it out for you to deliver that value. And again, this is not just the service, but also the product itself. We will talk a lot more about this when you attend the foundations course. Right? And it is very interesting to find out, hey, yeah, we've never thought of this. Yeah. So let's just say, right, you talk about digital product and digital services work hand in hand. And this is a very good example. Let's talk about logistics. So the digital product for logistics is to track your fleet tracking application. That's a product. The digital service that has to come together with the product would be the management of the GPS data and management of the route or the route that the fleet is taking. Like for healthcare, right? Telehealth patient portal, that's a digital product. And then the management of secure data records and diagnostics, that is a service. For media, example is Netflix, Spotify interface, the things you watch your movies on, that's a digital product. But again, the delivery channel where the content is currently being delivered, that is a digital service that is being provided. Imagine if Netflix has a digital product but has no content, you're most probably watching a blank screen. So these two work hand in hand. These two have to be managed hand in hand together. Yeah. So why does this matter? Again, digital products and digital service can be 2 perspectives, but it still looks at delivering one goal, which is value to the customer. Right? That's why we need to understand and manage full life cycle of both product and service together. Sometimes I find that the reason why there's so big of a disconnect with our how we deliver value is because we have never thought of doing this together. We always do it separately. The people that delivers the product just focus on product. The people that delivers the service just focus on service. It clashes. Yeah, that's a problem. And this matters a lot. This is where ITIL version 5 provides that guidance to do that. Okay. Okay. So how does ITIL version 5 help? Shared life cycle, like say, eliminates friction between development teams and operations team. Now development teams and operations team will have to work together. dependencies are more managed correctly rather than I just focus on product without understanding the dependency on service. We now work together. AI native integration becomes more seamless, the 6C model, creation, cognition, and so on. And this allows us to embed AI more correctly than just dropping AI and not knowing what to do with it. And of course, when we measure the quality of service and the value, we don't measure just the technical. Is the product working? Is the service working? We also measure, hey, how are these two things integrated? And is the consumer that is using the product feel the seamless connectivity or not? Yeah, which should be the case, right? Because as a consumer, I don't want to be thinking about, hey, the product and the service. To me, I want to have a good experience, and that's where the value is going to be derived from. Okay. So again, what changed in terms of structure? ITIL 4 focused a lot on IT service management. Uh, on the foundations course, ITIL 4 focus a lot on IT service management, whereas ITIL version 5 starts introducing you the DPSM. Yeah. ITIL concepts are still applied for both the versions. And of course, in foundations for ITIL 4, we only look at selected practices and related concepts. In version 5, we don't really look at the practices, we look at the value chain activity and then the related concepts. Because again, the practices, even though they are important, the practices are going to be very dependent on how we set up the activities and then what are we going to use to support it. For those who are going up to the advanced levels, or and this is more towards those who are implementing ITIL, right? In version 4, we had CDS, DSV, DPI, HVIT, right? We also have, what I call that, DITS, right? These are the concepts and the publications that collect some of these areas together to allow you to then look deeper into certain area of service management. In ITIL version 5, they've made it much more straightforward. Rather than have CDS, DSV, DPI, HVIT that a lot of people forget, they have kept it simple to focus on the product, the service, the experience, and of course, for advanced publication leaders, instead of DITS, you have now the strategy. All right. The practice guide still remains the same, 34 practice guides. And of course, advanced modules that everyone must take now. In ITIL 4, we didn't have this, but in ITIL version 5, we have something called transformation. Basically, to help people to know how to transform your organization to adopt ITIL 5, version 5 thinking and concept in both digital product and service management. Okay? Yeah. So it doesn't matter where you are, right? If you're new to ITIL, you will always have to take the foundation course. But if you already have ITIL version 4, right, you can take the bridging. Yeah, we will talk more about how this is going to be done. So since we are talking about the foundation structure here, right, of the courses, I want to quickly answer some questions. Somebody said, any tips for beginners starting ITIL? So here's my quick tip. Don't worry about version 4 or version 3. Start with version 5. You're going to learn the foundations and the foundational concepts, and you wouldn't get lost. Again, so come for the foundations course, learn, and then start planning how and where you want to grow. So any tips for beginners, it's okay to start at from version 5 itself. You're not losing anything, right? Can ITIL be adopted outside of IT like in any other business areas? That's a very good question. Since we're looking at this diagram, I can tell you that, it does. For example, even though it looks at digital product, digital service, and experience, the concepts within ITIL can be applied in HR, manufacturing, because these concepts are very universal. The principles are very universal, right? If you were to ask me, right, have I applied ITIL outside of my IT? I've done that, right? For example, right, let's take the practice of incident management. It doesn't matter if it's an IT incident or HR incident or security incident or a construction incident, you have to manage it correctly. And the management of incidents normally asks you to record the incidents, investigate, come up with a workaround, right? So that you can resolve it or reduce the impact. So the ideal guidance, right, on incident management can be modified and applied to other business areas. So if you're a non-IT person and you want to understand some of these concepts that we apply in ITIL, I advise you to also come join us for the foundations course, right? The foundations course is for everyone. It doesn't mean that you need to understand digital product or service management. It is going to be conducted in a way to have you have a foundation of what ITIL is about. Okay, yeah. So that's the other question I look at. Um, so what roles should I target after completing ITIL certification as a beginner? That conversation, that question is that uh, unless I know or we know what you're trying to achieve, we can't tell you that. So do have a chat with us so that we can actually help you solve uh, that path, that growth path, right? Which ITIL practices are most in demand in today's job? Depends on what you're talking about. Job market, yeah. To me, having the ITIL foundation course, ITIL version 5 foundation course already make you in high demand. If you are looking at a IT job today or IT service job, right? You look it in LinkedIn or Indeed or whatever, right? One of the things they normally list down is ITIL uh, certification preferred. Nowadays they don't even say that. So nowadays they say ITIL certification required. So starting at the very foundation of understanding ITIL already helps you with uh, making yourself a bit more valuable in the job out there. Okay, yeah. Okay, so and one more question. Thank you for all the questions, and I hope I've answered all of them. Again, if you have not answered, feel free to reach out to us. Yeah. So one more question is: when implementing ITU, does it involve all department and positions involving management level, executive level employees? The answer is yes. Imagine if ITIL was implemented in operations, in product development, but senior management and management does not support it, does not understand, there's going to be a big gap and there's going to be a lot of disagreements, right? You just cannot support one another. So yes. So my advice is ask your executive to even come for the ITIL foundations course, right? One thing I don't see enough is senior management coming for the IT foundations course. And if you know senior executives, sometimes they don't have the time or they feel very out of place attending IT foundation course, reach out to InfoTrack or MindMagine. We can always set up a workshop to even introduce your management level together with your executive, together with operations level to actually look at the possibilities of ITIL in the organization. So everyone is on the same page. Okay, so do reach out to us. Yeah, like I said, I can be easily reached out to. I would just reach out to InfoTrack, and they can always set something up so that we can also discuss on this. Okay, I won't go too details into this. All right. So for those, especially for those in ITIL version 4 who have taken ITIL version 4, this might be important to you. Because in ITIL version 4, we had the service value chain, this thing here, right? Demand drives engagement, design transition, obtain, build, deliver support, planning, improve to deliver products and services that will deliver value. And these activities are going to be organized in a stream so that we can deliver the value. Different organizations or different service will have different value streams. Now in ITIL version 5, it's no longer known as the service value chain, it's now known as the product and service life cycle. Okay, so basically, this is, instead of this diagram here, it is now this. That means these are the 8 activities that we want to organize um, in a chain so that we can deliver the value as well. Yeah, and things like that. Okay. Uh, so there will be two in the service value chain. You have 6. So there's addition of 2, and of course, um, and this is broken down to ensure that we can focus more on ensuring value is created. Yeah. So this is more of a flexible stepping stone model. For those who are new to ITIL, don't worry too much about it. Come for the foundations course. We'll talk more about this, explain more about this to you. So the ITIL value system, which is a system of collected components and activities that does not change, right? In ITIL version 5, we still have opportunity and demand that drives the system to deliver value. Within the system, we still have guiding principles or recommendations of how to implement ITIL or the things you need to do. Governance to make sure you are compliant to policies, both internal and external. Activities that is actually organized in the value chain. Practices to support each activity to make sure that it achieves its outcomes. And then the idea of continually improving everything in the service value system so that value can continue to be delivered. So this system does not change. It is expanded in the value chain activities. Okay. So of course, the other thing that has not changed in ITIL version 5 is the adoption of the 4 dimensions. The 4 dimensions are 4 areas we must constantly consider to make sure our service continues to become valuable. For example, the dimension of people impacted by the change, the organization people, the roles, the dimension of what information and technology is to be used, the dimension of which vendor and suppliers and partners we work with, and the dimension of our process flow and activities we carried out. So by considering this all the time, will then allow the service value system in the middle to operate correctly. Of course, when we are considering the dimensions, we also need to consider the external factors out here, right? These are the things that are forcing us to actually adopt new ways. These are the things that we most of the time do not have control over. And based on these external factors, we will then reorganize our dimensions so that we can carry out the activities in the system to then deliver what is in the center, which is the value of the service. Again, don't worry too much about this because this morning is not to give you a detail about each activity, it's just to introduce what has changed. Okay, so what used to happen in service and product management is that through the eyes of the product vendor, right, things are split into 2. For example, products and a product itself is managed differently, and then when the service is introduced, service is then managed differently. So throughout this entire journey, you notice that service is never involved. It's so fixated on the product, right? Perceive problem, opportunities, design the product, build and test the product, deploy the product, and then service comes in to manage it. So this doesn't work in digital service or digital products. So what's going to happen? What is happen is this. Now we have a joint perspective. Service thinking and service planning and management is going to be involved even in digital product creation. So we are going to carry the value chain activities, all these 8 value chain activities throughout both digital products and services, and this becomes a joint perspective. So if you look at that, right, companies that provide digital products are no longer separated or treat as a vendor that is separated from the service. From the very beginning of the digital service, they have to be involved. If not, then the product might not support the service might not support the product, and you have problems delivering value. It becomes a joint perspective. Yeah. So that's the idea. So for the value chain, what has changed is primary scope for ITIL 4 is IT service management. Again, for ITIL version 5 is digital and service management. Structure in terms of value chain, 6 flexible activities. And then version 5, 8 granular stepping stones or activities. In version 4, AI integration is just an enabler. But in version 5, AI becomes more of a supporting core component. And the measurement for service value chain in version 4 is always about fit for purpose, fit for use, utility and warranty, which are SLAs. In version 5, we also introduce part of the SLAs is within something called experience and outcomes, XLAs. Okay. Okay. So artificial intelligence. So this is basically one of the very important things we need to talk about today. Right? I'm sure all of you have used some sort of artificial intelligence, like generative AI, like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Copilot. That's a popular one, right? Or some of you have even gone beyond that. So start adopting agentic AI, right? Yeah, RAG, all these things are coming in place. So AI is going to be part of our life. In fact, you know, not sure how many of you know this, but in 2025, just last year, children born in 2025 actually kick-started a new generation. It's called Generation Beta. Right? If you have children and if you had a kid last year, your kid will grow up as Generation Beta, and in Generation Beta is where AI is already starting to embed in their life. So as parents, right, let's just say if you have a newborn last year, your job becomes harder because now your kids don't even believe you anymore. They mostly say, I don't know if I can believe my parents or not. Let me check with AI. That's what's happening. So artificial intelligence is going to be very embedded in everything we do. So in this case, adopting AI into service management is also important. So now AI allows the service management, the system in the service management, to learn, adapt, and execute tasks for us. Again, AI doesn't take over service management. I know a lot of companies say, oh, I want to replace 10,000 staff and then replace with AI. It's never possible. But AI can actually enhance by learning, adapting, and executing. It enhances human decision making by collating information and giving people, humans, the ability to have more data. But AI, when it's being implemented as part of service management or digital product and service management in ITIL, follows a ITIL's 6C model: creation, curation, clarification, cognition, communication, coordination. Creation is basically creation of the AI product to be used. Curation is to data collection. Clarification is to provide information to the AI so that they can actually start thinking about what needs to be done. Cognition is where AI start learning and adapting, and then information is then communicated, and then the work of AI and human service management is coordinated. So value can be delivered more powerfully. Yeah. Of course, one of the most important aspects of ITIL is the continuous improvement model. We know that for digital products and services and activities we do have to continue to improve. You cannot run away from this. In ITIL 4, we had a continuous improvement model, right? That asks all the six questions and one statement. The statement is also always very important, is to do something about it. In the ITIL version 5, the questions are still basically the same, but some of them have changed to also align with the different activities that needs to be carried out. So instead of did we get there, we have changed the question to are we getting there? Because again, it is a journey, it is a progressive journey. And of course, the activities that supports each question have also been has also evolved. The other question that has changed as well is how do we keep the improvements relevant? Basically, how do we continue to do the right things and improve so that the digital products and services continues to bring the right experience to the consumer? So in the foundations course and all the other courses, we again look into more details of this. Okay, one of the major changes that has been adopted in ITIL is this. Some people say, what is this? Okay, if you look at this, there's a name to this model. It's called the Kernavin model. It was created by a person named Dave Snowden. Kernavin actually means habitat. And Kernavin model is a set of activities that you carry out to understand complexity. So for example, right, in workflows, in the service we deliver, there are different levels of complexity, right? We have the lowest level of complexity called order. Order means we know why things happen, we can quickly decide what to do. But not everything is so clear cut. There are some things that when we implement ITIL, it can be complex. That means complex means that I don't know what's going on, therefore I cannot implement. So we need to then look at how to understand the causation and the unpredictability and then transform accordingly. There are some cases where we have chaotic. Chaotic means that we don't even try to understand what the problem is, what the issue is. We will need to stop the current situation first, like flooding, right? When let's just say your state, the state you live in or the country you live in floods, you're not going to try to figure out, hey, why did the flooding happen? You're going to try to save the people first. So it's a crisis situation requiring immediate action and then look at the problem. And of course, there are cases where we are confused. For example, we don't know if this is the right causation. Do we really understand what actually caused it, or is this chaotic? So in anything we do, there are complexity that we need to manage. That's why in ITIL version 5, we have an extra module called transformation to help us understand how to actually apply this model, find out the level of complexity, and then based on the level of complexity, what are the steps to properly transform the organization to adopt ITIL version 5 correctly and to adapt it. Yeah. By the way, this model, of course, is simplified by ITIL. The real model, the Kernavin model, the real model, again, the level of complexity is even not just 4, but basically 5 over 5 dimensions. And the question is, when someone asks, do I have to use this only in IT or can I use this outside? The understanding of complexity can be used anywhere in whatever you do, so that we can decide what are the next steps. And ITIL version 5 provide the guidance specifically for digital products and service management. And of course, in terms of governance, like I said, traditionally, we only evaluate what's going on, provide direction, and then do the monitoring. So the question is, just now someone asked, does it involve all department and positions, management level, executive? It does, because it is the executive level that does the governance, evaluate, direct, and monitor. So they have to involve. So in this case, ITIL version 5 includes an extra component called engage stakeholders. While evaluating, directing, monitoring, continue to engage stakeholders and understand what impacts them, what are their needs, so that we can align our service management, our DPSM, to deliver the value to them as well. Okay, and of course, measurements, right? Like I said, traditional SLAs are not going to be as impactful, right? Because service quality is no longer, does it work? Can I use it when I'm supposed to use it? Service quality now includes user experience, right? Did I feel I get value from it? And also how sustainable it becomes. That's why we have the concept of just of XLA rather than just SLAs. We need to consider user experience and sustainability. And of course, the change that ITIL version 5 also introduced is that the journey of a service doesn't belong when a service goes live. The journey of a service starts from the very beginning when the consumer is exploring what service they want, engaging with the different providers, looking at what requirements they want, agreeing what is to be delivered, onboarded to use the service or off-boarded from a previous service, continue to use the service to create value and reflect which part of the service needs to improve. This same thing happens to the service provider. So there is close relationship between the provider and the consumer throughout the entire journey of the DPSM, right? So in ITIL version 5, we are very focused on making sure that services are not created, right, without the involvement, the constant involvement of the consumer at every point throughout the service journey. Okay. Of course, ITIL by itself would not be truly successful if you don't consider the automation of some of these activities or the continuous development and operation practice that you can find in the concept of DevOps. DevOps is basically a drawing of two set of activities, development and operations. So ITIL, like I said now, is more aligned and more seamless together with DevOps, right? So ITIL provides the structure, DevOps provide the continuity and the automation. Same thing with Prince2. Because ITIL has always been purely service management, Prince2 is always project management. Again, during your projects, ITIL must already start coming in. Because again, if your project is to deliver a digital product, this digital service also must be planned in your project as well. So now Prince2, the project management and the portfolio management, program management methodology is now more seamlessly aligned to ITIL. That's why throughout the course, you will see the conversation of ITIL and DevOps, ITIL and Prince2, because the alignment has to happen at the very beginning all the way to support. Okay. Okay, so structure changes, like I said, foundation still at the core. Advanced publication for managers instead of the CDS, DSV, DPI, HVIT, DITS. Now you have product services experience plus an extra module called transformation. So what have been added to the ITIL version 5 foundation? Like for example, if you want to get your start your ITIL journey, start with version 5, because in version 5 we do talk about the 6C AI capability model, the integrated DPSM, talk about understanding of complexity rating management based on the Kernavin model, holistic digital experience, organizational-wide guidance, transformation, how to develop a good value stream, organizing activities for value delivery, and of course, how do we look at the customer journey introduction, which is this one. Yeah. So we do cover a lot. That's the reason why it's a 3-day course. So we say, wow, foundation 3 days are a bit long, huh? Because we are trying to give you enough information to start you on your understanding of what ITIL is about. So that at the end of the foundations, you can go back to your organization and start thinking, hey, which area should I improve? And then can also start planning your advanced course journey as well. Yeah. Again, don't worry too much about if I can't do this myself, would there be somebody to help me? Sure. So InfoTrack and MindMagine, we all, especially us, MindMagine, we have been doing this for many years, ITIL for many years. The evolution is nothing new to us because we've seen it happening already. We can help you adopt this in your organization. Yeah. So what has been removed from ITIL version 5 foundation? So what has been removed is basically the detailed practices, right? Because the practices is basically how you will do it. In ITIL, we will tell you what needs to be done, what's the best way to do it, but how you actually implement the activities is decided by your organization. As for example, let's just say I'm the one who created ITIL, right? I cannot, unless I know your organization, I will not be able to tell you how to do it. This is very dependent on the teams you have in your organization. Yeah, that's why rather than focusing on the details of how it needs to be done, we want to at least build foundation of what needs to be done, and then you can then think about how best to do it. There's no, and I like to tell people, right, there's no one way to implement ITIL, right? Depending organization, how you implement it fits your organization. That's why when people say, "Oh, can I implement it how my competitor implements it?" No, you do you. Yeah, you do you. So, like I said, in the ITIL course, it is 3 days, right? The 3 days, 2.5 days itself is focused on the ITIL 5 uh, concepts, the foundation course. Yeah. But the second half of the third day, we also want to add value. How do we do this? We are going to focus on 4 of the practices that are most common in every IT organizations: incident, problem, change, service request, and talk about that. I know that ITIL version 5 have taken away all the practices, but we feel, because we have been in this industry for a long time, that there are certain practices that people still wants to start off with to get off the ground. And the most common one will be incident, problem, change, service request. So what we are doing would be 2.5 days of pure ITIL version 5. Second half of the day is the practices that are commonly used in ITIL so that you can start adopting this from day one, right? What we call low-hanging fruits. And on top of that, officially, People Cert, the owners for ITIL, is providing you 2 sample exams, right? So for us, MindMagine, we find that sometimes 2 sample exams might be a bit too little to practice before we take the actual exam. So what we have done is we have created 4 extra sample exams on our site, right? Because we have been, like I said, we have been in this industry for a long time. We have already taken the ITIL 5 exams, right? So we know the focus areas. So we are creating our own 4 sample exams. So altogether, you have 6 sample exams. Oh, wow. So for those of you asking, is it easy to get certified for ITIL foundations? How long I need to study? Well, again, that depends on you, how much effort you want to put in, but we are going to help you with that by giving you enough sample exams to practice over and over again. 6. Nice. Yeah. So we will still cover basic concepts that are important for you, definitely. Okay. So we've talked about the changes, yeah? So before we come out to the final section, right? I want to actually just quickly maybe look at some of the questions that are online. Yeah. Under the, okay. Seems to have answered everything. Okay. DPSM covering full life cycle, does it mean it is same as waterfall life cycle? No. Again, it is not the same as waterfall. In ITIL, the DPSM, you decide how you want to organize it. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to follow from design to acquire. You can go from design and then from acquire to build. You can go from design, acquire, design again, and then acquire again, and then build. It is up to the service and the product you're delivering. So it is very flexible in that way. It is not waterfall, right? How do I apply ITIL concepts in Agile and DevOps? ITIL concepts provide structure, right, that Agile and DevOps can accept. For example, right, in Agile and DevOps, right, there's never mention about how to properly do change management, right? Service changes or product changes, right? For example, for those who are using Agile Scrum, right, you're talking purely on development, right? And then talking about the product backlog and so on. But what about the approval section? That is never really talked about. ITIL can provide guidance for that. ITIL actually works very well with Agile and DevOps because both Agile and DevOps took their concepts from lean thinking, right? Lean, and ITIL also adopts lean thinking in terms of service value chains. So we can explore further on that. Let me know, reach out to me, because I do actually teach both the different types of Agile, DevOps, and also ITIL. We can have that conversation. Yeah. Okay. How long does it realistically take to become job ready after ITIL foundations? You can start immediately. When I say start immediately, right, with the blessing of your senior management, you can start making changes already if you want to. There is no, oh, after 6 months only I start doing it. Nope. After the course, even before you take your ITIL foundation exam, you can start applying what you learn. Another question, what are the most common mistake company makes when adopting ITIL practices? Most common mistake is trying to do it alone, right? Number one. Senior management not involved. Number two, right? Making ITIL into a strict waterfall and forcing people to follow strict structure, that is a mistake. So those three common. So you have to collaborate with different departments. You must get management support on this, because any decision management must help you achieve that. You must actually allow for collaboration, right? Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so those are the questions I have. Yeah, let's talk about the qualification scheme. So this is the ITIL version 5 official qualification scheme. So you start with the ITIL foundations, and then this is everyone must attend this, right, before you can move up. Of course, if you're ITIL version 4, there are things you can do. We will talk more about that for those who have ITIL version 4. Yeah. So ITIL foundation is the starting point, and depending which direction you want to go, you can, if you're heading to the practice manager, you can then take one of these three courses, right? ITIL, monitor, support, for and fulfill, plan, improve, implement and control, collaborate, assure, improve, then take the transformation, and then you become an ITIL practice manager. If you don't want to become an ITIL practice manager and just take these three courses, yeah, it's fine. But if you want to achieve practice manager, transformation is a needed course. You can even take transformation immediately after foundation if you want to. Yeah, you can do that. It is very flexible how you learn. If you want to go on the path of ITIL managing professional, you have to take product service experience plus transformation to achieve that. And if you want to achieve strategic leader, you must take ITIL strategy, transformation, and then get the strategic leader. If you want to achieve your ITIL master, right? Some of you might have this aspiration to be ITIL master. You will have to take foundation, one of the three, all three, one of the three in practice manager, all three in managing professional, plus the strategy leader, the strategy, plus the ITIL foundation, one time only. And then once you've achieved practice manager, ITIL managing professional, strategic leader, then the ITIL master is awarded to you. ITIL master is not an exam. If you completed all this, master is awarded to you. One course that you can take as an extension model, for example, if you're not, if let's just say, right, you just want to find out about ITIL's AI governance, you can take this extension module called ITIL AI governance, which you don't have to take the ITIL foundations, because this is just an extension model. But this does not add to your official qualification scheme. This is just an extension model. Yeah. Compared to the ITIL 4 certification journey, yeah, it gets a bit complicated. Yeah. Yeah. You have this, you have this, you have join here, join there. So they have made it much more seamless and easier. Okay. So in terms of strategy, uh, nothing much have changed ITIL strategy, right? Because in ITIL 4, we used to call it digital and IT strategy, DITS. Now it's just called ITIL strategy. But I think the main change is basically looking at the combination of strategy development cycle and strategy implementation cycle. Yeah. And of course, the focus is more of a business strategy rather than a technology strategy. So if somebody asks me who takes this ITIL strategy, if you are leadership, senior management, executive, you're setting direction of adopting your digital products and adopting ITIL in your organization, this is the course for you. But anyone can attend. So anyone can attend any course. It is flexible. Okay, so a quick description of these three: product, services, and experience. Yeah. So ITIL version 5 experience is focused on the people, capturing outcomes, capturing experience, capturing how people feel and think. Basically, not just how the service is performed, but how people feel about the value of the service. So we will be introducing the ITIL experience model, experience capture system, OCRs, outcomes, cost, and risk, and of course the ITIL improvement model that looks at notice, interpret, hypothesis, experiment. In the ITIL service, version 5 service, right, the focus is on not just the service itself, but again, how the service is linked to the product. So this is more focused on the service provider and the product, digital product vendor type of view. Yeah. And of course, we will emphasize for both product and services the 8 life cycle, the activities, right? And of course, understand the product rules and the service rules. So yeah, so these two are very relevant. So if you are focusing primarily on development, IT product relevant to you, but my encouragement is to also attend the service to understand when you think of the product, think about the service. Yeah, so both. So again, ITIL 5, what is existing, end-to-end value streams, modern delivery approaches, continuous improvement culture, what's new, 8-stage product service lifecycle, ITIL AI capability, service rules, in separation of or the what call that, the combination of product and service management, evolution of the service value system, and then new dedicated model for experience and transformation. Okay. Okay. So, what's mandatory? Like I said again, foundation is mandatory, transformation is mandatory, and then, of course, if you want to achieve a certain level, there will be certain courses that you will have to take. Like for ITIL version 5, ITIL foundation is always mandatory. Yeah. And then, depending on which route you want to take, ITIL practice manager, managing professional, or strategic leader, then you decide which course you want to attend. Again, trying to cover all this in 2 hours is cannot be achieved. So do reach out to InfoTrack and us, and then we can help you map this and even help you decide uh, uh, maybe plan when to even take this. Oh, by the way, we InfoTrack and MindMagine, we are HRDC, right? Supported. So that helps you with your planning as well, right? So what has been launched? ITIL Foundation has been launched. Product service experience has been launched. The practice manager, yeah. Uh, that one has been launched because that comes from ITIL 4. And then strategy will be launched in 9th of April. So is transformation. Yeah. Uh, ITIL AI governance will only be launched in quarter 2. So the dates have not been fixed yet. Okay. So how do I do this? Okay. For those of you who are taking ITIL version 5 as something new, you do not have to worry about this because you start from ITIL version 5 foundation. Okay, this is primarily for those who have taken ITIL version 4. So how do I move to ITIL version 5? Okay, so if you hold the ITIL 4 master, right, ITIL 4 master, you just need to take the ITIL Managing Professional version 5 transition exam to achieve the ITIL Master version 5. So the ITIL Managing Professional transition will not be launched, it's not launched yet until 12th of May. So if you already have ITIL Master, ITIL 4 Master, to move to ITIL Master in version 5, you just need to take that ITIL Managing Professional version 5 transition that will be launched 12th May. So you might want to wait for it. If you do not have ITIL 4 Master, right, but you have ITIL 4 Managing Professional, or you have ITIL version 3 Expert or ITIL version 3 Master, right, you need to take the ITIL Managing Professional transition to achieve your ITIL Managing Professional version 5. That means taking the ITIL Managing Professional transition does not give you ITIL Master, but gives you this ITIL Managing Professional certificate. Then you would have to take the practice manager and the strategic leader to get your ITIL Master. If you have only managing professional, V3 expert or V3 master. If you only have ITIL version 4 practice manager or ITIL version 4 strategic leader, right, you will need to take the ITIL transformation to actually achieve your ITIL practice manager version 5 or the ITIL strategic leader. Okay, so you only have to take it one time. So you will be able to upgrade both. Yeah. And then if you want to achieve your ITIL master, then you have to take the product, service, and experience courses to achieve your ITIL management professional to then get your master. And of course, if you have ITIL version 4 managing professional, strategic leader, or practice manager, right? Not all and all of this. You just need to take the transition, right? To actually then achieve. Yeah. So for example, right, if you have ITIL 4 managing professional and either ITIL 4 practice manager and strategic leader, you need to take the ITIL managing professional transition. It will upgrade you to managing professional here. And then you will have to take the other two together again to get your master. So for those who have ITIL version 4 foundation, right, you might need to take your ITIL version 5 foundation bridge one day optional. Okay. Again, if you just have your ITIL version 4, you notice here, if you only have your ITIL version 4, you are still valid to take any of the upper level version 5 qualifications. You don't have to retake your ITIL foundation version 5. It's still applicable. Yeah. But again, because of the new concepts, right, you might get very confused. Then it is better you might want to take the version 5 foundation bridge. Yeah. Okay. There is a question. Okay. I want to answer this question. Okay. Is there bridging for those holding V3 and 4 certificate? There is no bridging for version 3. So if you, okay, depending on what version 3, right? If it's version 3 foundation, you would have to take version 5 foundation. There's no bridging for that. Yeah. If it's version 4 foundation, you can take the bridging, or your version 4 is applicable to start taking all your higher courses as well. Right? So if you have achieved version 4 foundation, you can actually start planning to take your higher level courses. Yeah. Yeah. It says here ITIL 4 still valid for any upper level ITIL version 5 qualifications here. Okay. So if one can go ahead and take a screenshot, and I think this can be helpful. Right, Nita, hi. Is ITIL 5 mandatory for organization managing digital platforms, especially those obtain V3 or 4? I would suggest yes. Because again, now the focus has shifted. What you, it's up to your organization. If your organization internally can customize version 4 to support your digital products and services, go ahead. If you find that you might not be able to do that, then it's better to get some guidance to do that. You can either, and the guidance come in two forms, take the certification or reach out to us, right? Okay, so we have a question. I am interested in the ITIL AI governance extra module. How can I get more information on that? Please reach out to InfoTrack or us so that we can actually help you with that. But it's going to be quarter 2 or quarter 4 2022 launch. Okay, yeah. But reach out to us so that reaching out to us and giving us your emails, we can update you. That is also easy. Yeah. So okay, ITIL 4 to ITIL 5 transition route for foundation bridge target audience ITIL 4 certification holders, foundation certification holders who want a quick and easy way to understand key enhancements in ITIL version 5. Duration 1 day. There's an exam, 30 minutes. That is focused on the changes. Closed book. Prerequisite is any ITIL 4 certification. Excluding the certification or the what call that the non-core courses like cloud sustainability and so on. Managing professional transition. Target audience for those who have invested in ITIL 4 and ITIL V3 designations and need a clear, simple upgrade route. So for example, for those who have achieved ITIL 4 expert master or ITIL V3 expert or master, you want to upgrade it, you can take the managing professional transition. Duration 5 days. Yeah. Exam, 1 or 2 exams have not been confirmed yet because it's not out. The exam is open booked, it's scenario based. Prerequisite is ITIL 4 managing professional, ITIL 4 master, ITIL V3 expert, ITIL V3 master. Of course, the exams for ITIL 5 is very different, except for foundation. Foundation still remains the same, but the exam for the upper modules is very different from what you have now. It is based on a case study. The case study is known as, if you look and see the picture on the right, ITIL car rental. So there's a case study, and the good thing about the exam is open book. You can refer to the ITIL guidance that will be provided during the exam. Right? Exam is 90 minutes, 40 marks, pass marks is 20 over 40. Of course, prerequisites is ITIL 4 certification or ITIL foundation version 5. Training duration is 3 days. I have personally taken the exam, right? So I can talk about it. The exam can be tricky, but if you attend the classes, we are going to help you, tell you areas that to look out for, how to read the scenarios, and then how to apply it. Right? Yeah. That's it. Okay. I'm sure you might have some questions. Again, I'm going to open the Q&A. Drop your questions in the Q&A section. Okay, I see that that there you have asked a lot of questions, and I thank you for that. Can share the slide for reference after this session. Quite interesting to know this ITIL version 5. Uh, I will I will leave that to InfoTrack to let you know. But don't wait for the slides to be shared out, or uh, you can please reach out to us. I think it's important that we can start the conversation, that we can help you understand this, can help you plan as well. For example, I'm sure some of you who might not come from the IT background say, hey, this is very interesting because I'm not in IT, but I'm in HR. We still use digital products. And some of these concepts do apply to me. How do I apply this? Yeah. So do reach out to us. Okay. So don't stop the questions. Keep it coming. I'm going to pass it back to Jaslyn, who's going to actually close the session, right? And thank you once again for your attention, for listening to me talk so long. Hopefully, you have captured the information, and this has piqued your interest to reach out to us. More than happy to talk with you. Yep.
All right, thank you, Sean, for the insightful session. So I think now I think I got one or two questions that embedded in the question that maybe we can help to go through on that.
Not a
Yeah, just now
problem.
I see one of the questions from City. So City
Okay.
said the agreement between the supplier and buyer are in the step of ITIL processes.
Okay, so the agreement between supplier and buyer, yes, it is going to be part of the process where we talk about how we can agree on what
Mm.
sort of levels we can actually determine what services will be delivered, how we're going to deliver it. So basically, our general agreement is normally SLAs, right, with our buyers. We will talk about that in version 5. We're going to expand that to not only SLAs to XLAs, experience level, right? We will talk about that. Of course, in the foundation course, we are not going to look at the details of it. So where we will talk a lot about it would be under the products, products and the services costs, right? So if you want to actually understand how this actually is going to be carried out, those two courses will be where we will look at it. But it is part of the process. Yep.
Okay. So far, I think we are pretty cover lots of our questions from the participants. So, wow, I think we are waiting for any more questions. Let's quickly, needed you all a favor that to do the Google review. So if you like today's session and learn a lot from Sean, do help to give a 5-star and leave your a good comment for us, or anything that you're thinking to further, how to say, explore on the next topic of our webinar. You can also put it there. So we will read through from the Google review, and hopefully we can bring more impactful webinar for all of you. So thank you very much, Sean. I think we are
You're welcome.
the time also. Thank you so much for the sharing. All right. So while we are waiting for the Google review, just take your time to scan the QR and then leave your comment on that, leave your review. So the ITIL 5, just now we mentioned that it is actually, we already have the class that planned tentatively in 22 and 24 April. So we are offering it now is for 4,800 plus SST 8%. But now because we are going to have a promotion on that, so now only 4,005, and we'll cover back what's mean. So the 4,005 is already bundled with second attempt of the exam retake. So it's a good time for you to enroll and to attend the new version of ITIL Foundation class. So just now, I think Sean also mentioned to us, if let's say you are ITIL below ITIL 4, ITIL 3, so you need to retake the ITIL 5. So that's the one of the path. Another way, if let's say you are already ITIL 4 certified, then you can proceed to choose for the advanced level. So the ITIL 5 foundation 22 to 24 April. So if let's say you are interested to know more to get the new outline and the new details on what is this or everything, you can just WhatsApp to us. This is my WhatsApp number. So you can just quickly ping me on that you're looking for outline or looking for this class or you think to lock this promotion. So just ping me on that. I'll reply you shortly. So if let's say you have any more training requests, just drop us an email in techcenter@info-track.com or as usual, just WhatsApp me on that. So I think this number, we also using it to send a reminder this morning. So you can just reply on top of that. All right, so I think it's a time for lunch. Okay, so thank you very much for attending our session today. Hope to see you in our class. Thank you.